I can remember the first time I played Breath of the Wild vividly. At first, when I got the game for my birthday a couple years after its initial release, I didn't think much of it. I'd just beaten The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the 3DS, and although I'd grown more fond of the Zelda series, I was still growing accustomed to the more mature, slow-paced gameplay, as opposed to the Mario games, mainly Odyssey, that I'd treasured before. But all it took was to start the game up, and everything changed. So, you're probably wondering, why am I speaking straight about the Breath of the Wild's world building? Isn't it supposed to be, really empty and really bad? Well, get ready for a controversial opinion, because I personally believe that the sheer emptiness of basically anything in Hyrule is what makes the world building in Breath of the Wild so masterful, and why, again in my opinion, its depiction of a post-apocalyptic world is better than any other games with a similar theme, like The Last of Us, and, I don't know, Mario Sunshine, purely from how being in this world makes you feel like you're one of the last people alive. There are NPCs in the game, sure. Hyrule isn't completely dead, but they're all in little pockets, each individual town and stable only really holding a couple tens of people. The population of Hyrule is nearly snuffed out, and it feels like it. Bottom line, I think Breath of the Wild has one of, if not the best settings of any piece of post-apocalyptic media. Wait, piece? Like One Piece? One Piece? The One Piece is real! Part 1. Link is a naturalist. So, one of the first things you'll notice when running around Hyrule is everyone's favourite blonde man. Okay, everyone's second favourite blonde man is that no one's mowed Hyrule's lawn in a very long time.
A little late for trimming the verge, don't you think?
Seriously though, Hyrule is overtaken with greenery, moss, trees and flowers covering basically every structure in the game.
Someone get the Weedle!
However, this overgrown nature that blankets Hyrule works to the story's advantage, with Hyrule being a ravaged land after hundreds of years after an earth-shattering attack from Calamity Ganon. It would make sense that all destroyed and ruined forms of what once was Hyrule would be overtaken by nature after being undisturbed for a century. Trees go out of ruined fortresses, flowers bloom through the broken rock of old laid paths. The attention to detail for every brick and stone in Hyrule's design is astonishing, with the age of the foliage making enough of an impression for not only how long it's been since Hyrule's initial events that led to its fall, and Link's fall, but also just how long Link has been catching things for, and how the kingdom he called home is now barely recognisable. All of this helps to convey the tragedy of Hyrule, but it's not just the tragedy of this place that makes it one of the best worlds I have ever played through. There is another crucial element to how Breath of the Wild handles world building, in a way that I think is a huge breath of fresh air compared to other narratively driven games. Wait a minute, did I say Brett? Part 2. The ones that aren't Link. The NPCs, another crucial part of Hyrule's story building, and I don't just mean their dialogue. Like I mentioned in the sort of intro, think about how these NPCs are placed around the land. For this massive continent, there are only 427 people, total. And I promise you I didn't Google that. Compared to the cities and countries of the real world, that is an insanely small number. And with the different races of Hyrule being affected in different ways by the calamity, be that by their proximity to Hyrule Castle, or the geography of their homes being able to keep monsters in the corrupted Guardia. Oh god, no, please no! We know for a fact that based on the ruined structures in and around central Hyrule, not even counting the ruined huts and houses sprinkled around the marshes near Zora's domain, or the foot of Death Mountain, or even in the snowy plains of Tabantha, that countless Hylians must have been killed in the massacre 100 years ago, and that makes you feel attached to the world, and to the setting you find yourself in, wanting to avenge the hundreds or even hundreds of thousands that have died, or even just to protect the kind, simple folk that still thrive out in Hyrule, that care for you and help you throughout your journey. The best example I can think of to describe this is my first experience with an NPC when I first played the game, outside the old man at the Great Plateau. I'd just left the Great Plateau, gotten the nearest horse, and was riding across the Wilderlands, making my way to the Twin Peaks, when I spotted a plume of smoke making its way out from a line of trees on the pathway to the summit of the peaks. I stepped into the trees to find a small glade, with a lopped-over log, a cooking pot, a shabby tent, and a man. Just some simple average Joe who was trading, making his way down from Hiteno village, which I didn't even know existed at the time. He offered his services and I bought some rock salt off of him, before I passed the night by the fireplace. And then mounted my horse and left, carrying on to the next over 400 hours of this game. And I remember thinking, even though this was just a game, and obviously all that waiting for day meant was fast forwarding to day and avoiding monsters, if Link sat there with him and chatted. From there I grew attached to him, popping in and out when I was in transit between the peaks, even though I knew he'd just shoot out the same "world's crazy these days, want some stuff?" dialogue that every trader in the game spat out. But eventually, as the hours and hours of gameplay blended into each other, I forgot that he even existed, and I'd go between the peaks and down the wooded path without even noticing he was there. Though I remember the moment that I remembered him, at this point I'd destroyed Ganon ages ago, and gotten the prize for conquering all 120 shrines ages ago too. I'd even done the whole Champion's Ballad DLC and just gotten my hands on the Master Cycle, which I decided to send careening off the edge of the Great Plateau, and road trip up to Hiteno in, when I'd hit a tree and went flying into the same wooded path that I had been down so many times. When I landed, I realised that I was in a familiar looking glade, with a man sat on a stump. It was like running into an old friend by chance, and I immediately ran up to him, and with the insane amount of rupees I had racked up by that point, bought out his entire stock just for the sake of it. Then I passed the night by the fire again, not for any particular reason, just to relive old memories. From what in real world time must have been some 2, maybe even 2.5 months ago, and that's just estimating from the initial summer I spent playing the game. It could have been around a year and a half max since I set foot in there. I remember thinking again, just like the first time, if Link was excited to see him, and if they spent all night long catching up, Link talking about all the monsters and guardians he'd slain since, the fights I'd had with the Blight Ganons, the shrines, defeating Ganon. When I think back to that moment, I like to think that even if the night passed today, Link didn't sleep a wink. He just sat and spoke in comfort, and that was all the energy he needed. I had never felt that way about a game before, having my own headcanon for the characters interacting with each other, but I think it just goes to show how invested in the world of Hyrule you can get, which is a testament to Nintendo's top-notch world building. Part 3. The ending part. So, this is the end of the video. I hope you liked it. I'm going off script now. It was my first fully edited, fully scripted video, and I hope it was good. This took so much longer to edit than I thought it would. Oh my lord. I get it now. I get why it takes so long for fully edited videos to release. This was something a little different. I've been trying a lot of new things lately, trying to find my sort of thing. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked it. I had fun making it. Be sure to do all the normal stuff. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. You know, hit the ringy ding bell thing. You know what I mean. And take care. Have a good rest of your day. I hope this video made your day a little better, a little easier. And take care. Oh no, another guardian!